Last week, we explored a few different corners of London, finding cozy pubs, local restaurants, and our best attempt at a less typical tour of the city. But today, we're flipping the script. I'm calling the shots, and I say it's time to embrace the cliches. The things that make London famous, the things that made me fall in love with the city the first time I visited. Those are the things I feel like Tony's been missing out on.
So today, we are taking what I am calling Sara's Grand Excellent Adventure Walking and Tube Tour around London TM. Tony will put that in text on the screen. We have been in London for about a week now, and I feel like there are some iconic sites Tony has not yet seen. And as someone who, London was my first international trip, my first study abroad program, I lived here for a couple months, hurting my heart that he has not seen these iconic sites. So that's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna take the tube closer to the river, walk across a couple of bridges, see a couple of really old buildings, and hopefully pass a Christmas market or two.
Today's kind of weird because it is the warmest it's been since we've been here, and it's not raining, but
so windy.
It is so windy. It's crazy. Look at that. You can't even see it blowing, can you?
Looks really anticlimactic.
Our first order of business is walking past some of those old buildings and making our way to King's Cross.
So if you're familiar with Harry Potter, which by now I'm not sure how you're not, you probably know that King's Cross is where platform 9 3/4 is. Line is crazy. That is the line for platform 9 3/4.
Not to make this entire tour like a back in my day, but really, when I was here 10 years ago, there was like no line for that.
While seeing platform 9 3/4 was a bit of a bust because of the line, so we hopped back on the tube, crossed Blackfriars Bridge, and ventured through the windy streets on our way to my next stop, the Globe.
This tour is a little part threefold. Part, things I personally want to see again. 2, things I think Tony needs to see. But 3, I have been making videos with Tony for long enough now. I know there's certain shots that he's gonna wanna get and gonna be bummed if we leave and he didn't get them.
That's fair. That's fair. Water is really low. Is this bridge sketchy?
You know, I didn't even think of that.
I'm looking at it, it looks awfully thin.
My bad.
Great. Okay.
We have one stop before the bridge, so.
All right. Oh, we got a little turf war going on here. We got the drummers versus the tuba players. And it turns out the bridge isn't scary at all. You're on the River Thames and you want to sightsee a little bit. There are river cruises, but for a lot cheaper, you take one of these Uber boats. There's 2 passing us right now. Somewhere over there, there you go. And it's just, paying Uber prices. It's a lot cheaper than getting a cruise, but you're not gonna get the commentary, but still you get the same
Sometimes that's a good
views.
thing.
Yeah, it is sometimes a good thing.
Yay, Globe. Last time I was here, I got the £5 groundling tickets, which is where you stand on the stage, right by the stage, is where all the peasants stood, which is still pretty fitting for my current financial status. I saw A Comedy of Errors. I wanted to go to another show here, but it's Hansel and Gretel, and I don't really care about that. But All's Well That Ends Well is playing at the Sam Wanamaker Playhouse, which is right next door. I am gonna try and get tickets for that.
Hi, hello there. Welcome to London.
London's the first big international city I've ever returned to. It's quite a different experience the second time around. 1, because honestly a lot has changed in just the 10 years since I've been here. But 2, I think my priorities are different now as a 31-year-old versus a 20 and 21-year-old in London.
Broke college student.
Yeah, but my priorities then were like...
Alcohol.
Yes. Because that was like my first big international trip and my first big trip by myself. And I think I was like, whoa, this is so foreign and not like the US. And now I'm considerably more well-traveled and I'm like, oh, it's just like a really big city. Still love it, but it doesn't have the the shock factor it did the first time. You gotta unbutton your shirt for this?
Gotta be authentic with it.
It's pretty good. Pop your left elbow out more. Yeah. Monument to the Great Fire of London.
Say it like that.
I don't know.
We walked around town until we found our first Christmas market. We're not going to show much of it here. You already caught the highlights in our Christmas market video. So instead, we've got a bigger detour ahead.
I don't know if you could see it up here somewhere, but there's glass planes that you walk across and you see straight down. I think it's about 13 pounds a person, so maybe we'll check it out.
I would just like to put on record for probably the 100th time on this channel, I am not the one forcing Tony to do height-associated things. It is 100% always
100% me.
his idea.
Yep, it's all me. Maybe I'm low-key addicted to fear, but yeah, Tower Bridge. Iconic, majestic, and for someone with a healthy fear of heights, mildly terrifying.
Thank you. So this is your ticket for the engine rooms. You just have to show it again.
Okay.
1886.
There's 206 stairs all the way to the top. Definitely not the worst thing we've done.
You can take a lift.
You can take a lift, yeah. And as we walked up those 206 stairs, we learned a lot about all the effort, time, and manpower needed to build something of this scale. Hold on to your butts. The main reason to come up here is for the see-through floor. I'm trying to build up my confidence here. It's just glass, right? Ooh! A thin plane separating me from the river far, far below. I said I wouldn't be afraid, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
go.
My mind played tricks. Cracks forming, the ominous groan of the tower under my feet. None of it real, but very convincing.
Good job. Yeah.
I'm just not looking down.
It's cool if you look down. You should look down.
Fear fades and you walk across, maybe with your butt cheeks clenched, and reminding yourself that moments like this aren't just about conquering fear, they're about seeing the world from a less typical perspective. At least that's what I tell myself. It wasn't so hard. Who would have thought we'd complain about it being too warm in London in November? But it is warm, man.
2 degrees.
63 degrees outside, not raining. It's a good day.
We had thought about going inside Tower of London, but for 34 pounds a person, we decided to skip it. Plus, I remembered another museum from my first visit to London that was much cheaper. Obviously, it doesn't have the crown jewels, but it holds some things that make it interesting on its own.
Hello. 2 adults, please. Okay.
I'll admit, the Clink Prison Museum is one of those places you visit and immediately ask yourself, what did I just walk into? It's dark, damp, and eerie. And mind you, this is my second time visiting.
What? No.
This is what happens when Sarah's in charge of the itinerary.
Yeah?
Walking through, we were greeted by the charming sounds of chains rattling and distant screams over the speakers. It's like the world's least relaxing ASMR.
God, this stuff is heavy. It's like 20 pounds. I don't know if I'm going to include this in the video or not, but if we do, I'm going to put a viewer discretion is advised warning before this part. Guy looks like he's taking a This feels like one of those haunted mazes and someone's going to jump out and jump scare us real quick. I swear to God, something jump scares. When I was in the Navy, we had to go through SEER school, which is like survival training school. And at the end, you get imprisoned for like a couple of days.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. In a little small cage we had to like squeeze in there, and we couldn't. Only time we can get out is when they gave us cold showers and when we ate.
Where'd you poop?
In the thing. I did not, but some people did poop. And it smelled. But the reason I'm bringing that up is because this sound is what they would put on the loudspeaker 24 hours a day.
How do they not know about this?
Trauma.
This place is a grim reminder that life in old London was not all Shakespeare and tankards of ale. The conditions of a dark time, executions, torture, and human nature at its cruelest. And yet, as uncomfortable as it is, you find yourself wearily fascinated by it all.
I thought that was like the sound from a museum.
Oh man, the Clink. Spooky in here.
Okay, mission somewhat accomplished. We've checked off most of what we came to see, and with that, it's time to say farewell to London. We will now be making our way north. Scotland, here we come.